Today, we're diving deep into one of the biggest, most complex concentrations of wealth and power on the entire planet, the financial empire of Mark Zuckerberg. We're going to break down how it's built and how it really works. Let's get right into it. So let's just start with the headline number, the one that's almost impossible to wrap your head around. As of early 2026, his net worth is sitting somewhere around $270 billion. I mean, that's a figure that puts him in one of the most exclusive financial clubs in all of human history.
But, a number that big just begs an even bigger question. It's not just about having the money, right? It's about the structure, the architecture of power that protects it and lets it grow. So how on earth is an empire like this actually put together?
Well, it all comes down to one thing. The entire system, every crazy billion-dollar bet, every single philanthropic project, it all rests on one simple foundation, his absolute, unshakable control over Meta. So how does he do it? Well, it's through a really brilliant piece of financial engineering called a dual-class stock structure. The simple way to think about it is that not all shares are created equal. Some shares just have way, way more power than others. And here's exactly how that works at Meta. You've got two flavors of stock. There are Class A shares, that's what you or I could buy on the open market. One share, one vote. Simple. But then there's Class B, and those are held almost entirely by Zuckerberg. For every one of his shares, he gets 10 votes, a 10-to-1 power advantage. And this is where it gets really mind-bending. Because of that 10-to-1 setup, even though he only owns about 13% of the company's stock, a pretty small slice of the financial pie, he actually controls a whopping 61% of the voting power. Let that sink in. He's a minority owner, but an absolute majority ruler. So what does that kind of control actually get you? Well, it's like a superpower. It's this founder's shield that lets him make these colossal, long-term bets on things like the Metaverse or AI. He can spend tens of billions and nobody can stop him. He literally can't be overruled. He can't be fired. Even if 90% of the other shareholders disagree with him, his vote is the only one that really matters. And just when you thought that structure was powerful enough, they recently added a new piece to the machine. In 2024, Meta started paying out a dividend. Now, for most of us, that's just a nice little bonus, but for Zuckerberg, it created something way more powerful, his own personal liquidity engine. And how much are we talking about? About $720 million a year. And here's the real kicker. This is just pure cash flowing directly to him. He doesn't have to sell a single share to get it, which means he never, ever has to dilute that all-important voting control. It's a fire hose of cash he can use for literally anything he wants. All right, so you've got this fortress of control at Meta and this endless stream of cash. Where do you point it? Well, that brings us to the second massive pillar of his empire, his legacy project, the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, or CZI. It's funded directly by the power and money that Meta generates. But here's the thing. CZI is not your traditional charity. Not even close. It's structured as a for-profit limited liability company, an LLC. And that one detail changes everything. Unlike a normal foundation, an LLC can lobby politicians. It can invest in for-profit startups, and the founders can even take their money back if they want. It is philanthropy designed for maximum power and flexibility. This setup lets them operate in a really unique way. On one hand, yeah, they give out traditional grants to universities, just like you'd expect. But on the other hand, they act like a venture capital fund, pouring money into companies they think can change the world. Any profits they make just get recycled right back into the mission, which, by the way, is maybe the most ambitious goal ever stated, to cure, prevent, or manage all diseases by the end of this century. No big deal, right? And just take a look at the kinds of companies they're backing. It's not just biotech. We're talking about climate tech that literally turns CO2 into fuel, an ed tech company connecting developers in Africa with jobs, and even a company making low-carbon concrete. The scope here is just absolutely massive. Okay, so we've got the corporate control, we've got the philanthropic engine. The third piece of this empire is the personal one. How do you use that kind of wealth to build your own world? Well, it's all about creating total privacy and, more recently, crafting a very different public image. And when I say build your own world, I mean not literally. He's not just buying houses, he's buying privacy. In Palo Alto, he didn't just buy his house. He bought the 4 houses around his house to create a private compound. In Hawaii, we're talking about a 2,300-acre ranch. The goal is always the same: create a secure private fortress. This desire for control also extends to his public image, which has had this fascinating evolution. For years, we all knew the brand, right? The humble geek, the iconic gray t-shirt, the simple little Honda Fit. The whole message was, I'm just a guy who's focused on the work. Yeah, well, that image has shifted dramatically. The new persona is a full-on embrace of his status as an ultra-high net worth individual. It showcases a focus on incredible engineering, sophisticated luxury, and elite craftsmanship. And if you want the single best example of this shift, here's a number for you. $300 million. That's the reported price tag for his new super yacht, Launchpad. It's a pretty clear statement.
You can even see this evolution on his wrist. He's become a pretty serious watch collector, and you can just see the rapid escalation here, going from really impressive luxury pieces to these incredibly rare, multi-million-dollar masterpieces of engineering. It's just one more sign of the times.
So let's put it all together. You have absolute corporate control, a massive personal cash flow, and a philanthropic engine building your legacy. What's left to do? You make the biggest bet of all. You go after the next horizon, artificial intelligence.
And he's totally open about it. He sees AI as a generational shift. And remember that financial fortress we just walked through? This is why it exists. It lets him accept enormous near-term volatility, what you and I might call losing billions of dollars, because he's convinced it's the key to winning the future.
And how big is this bet? Meta plans to spend up to $72 billion on AI in 2025 alone. To put that into perspective, that is one of the largest single-year capital investments by any company for any project in the history of business.
So what on earth does that kind of money actually buy you? It buys the raw ingredients for a new kind of intelligence. We're talking over 1 million of the world's most powerful computer chips, massive new data centers that consume the same amount of electricity as a major city, all of it in pursuit of the ultimate goal, creating an AI that surpasses human intelligence. And that brings us to the final question, really. This whole empire, from the special stock to the LLC to the private compounds, it's all a fortress. It's a structure designed so that at the end of the day, he's only accountable to himself. So has he built the ultimate engine for driving human innovation forward? Or has he just built the ultimate insulation from any and all consequences?